Hey everybody, I just wanted to get on here and do a little astrological update, talk about what's been going on. So, some of this stuff that I've been looking at recently, I think Venus has been actually particularly active. We're just coming out of this period where we had Venus in Libra, and at the end of Libra, it was conjunct the South Node. So this is, related to where we had the eclipses back in October. And the way that I've been seeing it activate actually is it's kind of like the South Node is just sort of keeping Venus from functioning in the way that it usually functions. Venus is all about creating relationships, connecting, making relationships. And especially in Libra, Libra is very social. It can be kind of surfacey. Normally Venus in Libra is just gonna like to be social with a lot of different people and be out and about and kind of social butterfly. But with the South Node can kind of like suck energy out of a planet a little bit, and this is what I've been seeing happening, that it seems like actually kind of in an extreme way, the South Node feels like it's been blocking the function of Venus, actually. So we're just, coming out of that, and yesterday, so December 4th, we had Venus ingress into Scorpio, and that ingress sort of like clears that energy of Venus being together with the South Node, and has moved into Scorpio. So now we're looking at kind of a whole different set of archetypes. Venus in Scorpio is much more about depth. It's much more about kind of deep desires and how you project those desires outward, right? Venus is the ruler of Taurus, which is opposite Scorpio, and Venus in Taurus is all about being able to listen to yourself and being able to identify your needs and then being able to cyclically meet those needs. It's about self-sufficiency. It's about self-knowing, Scorpio opposite Taurus, with Venus there, it brings this side of like deep self-knowing, and then it also kind of projects that outwards. It wants that with another person. It wants that type of deep self-knowing with another person. Venus in Scorpio is really about deep desires and drives and things like this. What I find particularly interesting is, we have Saturn at 1 degree of Pisces. So Venus moving into Scorpio today, this is December 5th now. Venus moving into Scorpio gives us Venus trine Saturn. So Venus trining Saturn, Saturn's actually bringing a lot of structure to that Venus function when they're trine. However, we also have Neptune in Pisces. So Neptune in Pisces is very much about the ideal. And Venus, right, as Venus moves through Scorpio, it's going to separate from a trine with Saturn, right, 1 degree of Saturn's at 1 degree Pisces, and Neptune is at like 24 or 25 degrees Pisces right now. So Venus is going to be separating from that trine with Saturn and moving into a trine with Neptune. Neptune Venus is much more idealistic. This is much more about ideals, and ideals that kind of come from an emotional sort of place. They're very personal and very subjective in a way, so what I see going on here is that, there's a big focus on ideals. Venus being in a water sign, Venus being in specifically Scorpio, Venus being, by sign and pretty soon by degree, trine Neptune. There's going to be a huge focus on ideals. Saturn is helping to give a little bit of structure to that, a little bit of structure around what exactly is the ideal. How does this actually relate to reality? Saturn really helps things to come into the real world, to be, manifest in the material. You know, but yeah, Venus and Neptune is going to be a big focus on the ideal. And I think as Venus moves through Scorpio and approaches that partile trine with Neptune, reality could be lost a little bit. The ideal could kind of take over a little bit, and then it's, you know, kind of approaches like impracticality, essentially. You know, the other interesting thing that's happening that I see relating to this, on December 1st, so this was this past Friday, we had Mercury move into Capricorn. So Mercury moved out of Sagittarius. Mercury in Sagittarius is kind of scattered. It's a little all over the place. It's, you know, Mercury is logical, rational thought. It's the left brain function. Mercury in Sagittarius is just kind of all over the place. It likes adventure, it likes to be here, it likes to be there, it likes to study a lot of different things, but it's not particularly grounded or methodical, or organized. And Mercury moving into Capricorn, Capricorn brings so much slowness to the Mercury function, but it brings the slowness and the groundedness to the Mercury function. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, so now this Mercury in Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. This is connecting these two particular transits, or these two configurations together, right? Mercury moves into Capricorn and it's ruled by Saturn, which we have Saturn right now in Pisces, trining the Venus, which just moved into Scorpio. So what this is about is this Venus function, and I think really Venus is kind of leading this right now. Venus seems to be the most activated function. So again, the fundamental function of Venus is the psychology of listening. Venus is all about how you listen to yourself, and how you listen to yourself informs how you make a relationship with yourself, and how you make a relationship with yourself then informs how you make a relationship with other people. So the Venus function moving into Scorpio is turned inward, and inward kind of at the deepest possible level. Scorpio is really the deepest sign of the zodiac. So that Venus function, that psychology of hearing, is now turned inward, and it says, let me listen not only to myself, but let me listen to myself at the kind of deepest, like primal desire level of myself. It's a lot what's going on. So that Venus function is trining Saturn. So trining Saturn, Saturn gives it the structure to see, you know, what exactly am I hearing from myself, and how do I bring this into reality? And then that Saturn is ruling Mercury, which just entered into Capricorn, and Mercury is, you know, about communication. So, right, this Mercury Capricorn and the Saturn trine to Venus is giving the structured communication to be able to say, this is really what I want at the deepest level. You know, this is what I'm looking for through relationships. I think the interesting thing is going to be to watch how it plays out and to see how the balance maybe shifts. Because again, as Venus moves out of that trine with Saturn and into the partile trine with Neptune, right? Neptune is already involved because it's with Saturn in Pisces. But they're far apart. Again, Saturn at 1 degree Pisces, Neptune at 24, 25 degrees Pisces. You know, but as Venus moves through Scorpio, it's going to come closer to the trine with Neptune. Venus-Neptune is so much about the ideal, so I think it's going to be easy for there to be a moment right now where it seems like ideals can be expressed in a structured way that feels attainable in reality. And I think it's going to be easy for that function to start of run away a little bit, or just kind of blow out of proportion, and suddenly the ideal side is just going to take over even more, and become a little bit ungrounded, you know. And we're approaching in the middle of the month, Mercury is going to station retrograde, and in this Mercury retrograde cycle, it's going to move back into Sagittarius. Again, Sagittarius, Mercury Sagittarius, much more ungrounded than Mercury Capricorn. So I think that we're at a really interesting moment right now that's offering a lot of clarity, and I think starting to offer a little more movement to the Venus function, which to me felt pretty stagnant recently when it was conjunct the South Node in Libra. So I think we're at this kind of balanced moment where there's more movement to Venus. There's a lot of opportunity for clarity, structure, groundedness in what that function is doing. And then I think we're going to kind of move through that and reach a different moment that is maybe a bit imbalanced, you know, and it's going to take more focus to just kind of like keep things grounded and keep things in reality, you know. And there's always the other side to things that are very idealistic, which they let in a lot of inspiration. So, you know, it's always this cycle of balancing and rebalancing. So, hope this helps. You know, I always want everybody to, you know, let me know what's going on. I'm always interested to hear how these things are going for everybody, you know. So if this seems really spot on for what's happening in your life, let me know. And if this seems totally wrong for what's happening in your life, I want to know that too. I'm always really interested to see exactly how it's playing out with different people's experiences. So, all right.